Hello, everybody. This is David here, aka Chessman, and I'm here today to go over a game that was played today at the Tata Steel Chess India in 2020. This is 2026, so Tata Steel, which is being played in India. It's Rapid and Blitz, and today we're going over a rapid game. It was in round one, Vishy Anand versus Wesley. This is my analyzing games series. Basically, I always wish I could find someone who would analyze games and tell me what every move does. So I can't find that, so I'm doing it myself. I'm going to use the help of the game review from chess.com, and we're going to try to use that and our brains and everything we know about chess to figure out what each and every move was made and why it was made. All right. So I would do no spoilers, but Levy already says it right here. White seized the moment and snatched the win, so clearly White won. Vishy and Anand won this game. It was a rapid game. They both had 15 minutes, and it looks like if we go over the highlights, Vishy and Anand played with a 95.5% accuracy, while Wesley Slow played with an 89.5%. Wesley had one big blunder in the game. Vishy played like a 2900 this game, and Wesley played like a 2600. So definitely underrated. He played under his rating, and Viswanathan played well above his. But the opening accuracy was 99.7% for Vishy and 100% for Wesley. And the middle game accuracy was 94.2 for Vishy and 85.9 for Wesley. So you guys can definitely take notes about the opening. The opening was sound. So let's start the review. All right. I don't know why he's not talking. It says e4. The king's pawn stakes an early claim. Black's going to have to respond. Okay, so it doesn't tell us why this is a good move, but from what I know, e4 takes control of the center, controls d5 and f5. So um, it so black can't just play d5 without an exchange. So it also opens so the bishop can get out and the queen can get out. So that's why it's a very strong move. All right, next move. All right. Just trying to see if I make sure it's not mute. Okay, it says solid as a rock. Black's playing the Caro-Kann and opening for positional chess enjoyers. Again, it doesn't tell us why c6 is a great move. From what I know, it's preparing d5, which basically will this c6 move helps black put a pawn in the center, and when he plays d5, that also opens up a space for the bishop to get out. So that's why c6 is a good move. White stakes a claim to the center, and e5 and c5 are now on notice. Oh my. Basically, d4 claims more center space, and also opens so this bishop can get out. d5 puts its own pawn in the center, supported by c6, like we said before, and also gets so the bishop can get out. It says pushing the pawn and staking a claim. Look at white go. So I guess this takes more space. It says pushing the pawn and staking claim. Staking claim to me means taking more space. So that's what this pawn does. All right. Bishop f5 develops the bishop where it controls the important e4 square. Black can play e7, e6 next without trapping the light squared bishop on c8. So basically you're developing a piece, but you're getting it out of the pawn chain before you play e6. So that's why this is a good move. It says white develops the knight and attacks the center. Alright, this develops a piece and it attacks the center. That's why it's saying it's a good move. I think it's weird that it's blocking in the c1 bishop, but the knight might go to b3. So if the knight goes to b3, then the bishop can get out again. So it says prepping that bishop for development. Let's get this show on the road. So this move basically lets out the dark square bishop. It says textbooks play solid start to the game. It finishes development of the knight, and now the bishop can get out. Okay, next move. It says developing the knight and increasing influence in the center. Let's go. So develops a piece, and it increases the influence in the center. The only other thing I can see is maybe you're preparing at some point to either make a pawn break at f6 or c5. Right, next. It says white develops the knight and attacks the center. So this develops a knight and attacks the center. I don't see anything immediate otherwise besides that. So let's keep going. A6 says textbook keeps things solid. I don't get it. Maybe are you preparing b5? I don't know why a6 is a good move. I mean, the bishop couldn't go there either way. The only thing I can see is you're going to be playing b5. Unless you're planning on playing c5 and you didn't want the bishop to end up coming here. So, okay, I think that's the reason. At some point you want to play c5, but if this pawn was back here, the bishop could come out. So, I think that's what it is. Alright, next move. Bishop e2, the bishop joins the party, classic developing move for white. This just develops the bishop to where it can go. You could have gone to d3, I guess, but maybe we don't want to trade pieces just yet. This also gets ready so white can castle. Alright. Alright, just like I thought. It says white's pawn chain is about to feel the heat. Let's see what the follow-up is. Alright, apparently best play we get this position. It's pretty equal. Alright. Let's look at the next move. Alright, so it had said the best move was c3, but instead Vishy plays d takes c5. Says solid trade keeps things even Steven on the board. So maybe it gives a place for your knight to go. Maybe that's why it's pretty good. says even Steven trade, nothing crazy here. I'm not sure why you would take with the bishop instead of the knight. Maybe so the knight still has pressure on this e5 pawn. But let's see. Let's see the next move. Knight takes bishop seems good to me. It's a solid trade, nothing crazy, keeps things balanced. Let's see the next move. Easy peasy recapture. Knight just takes back. That's self-explanatory. Let's see. White castles, gets out of the center, and the rook can come to e1. Knight e7. Develops the knight, increases influence in the center. So that's what it does. The knight can't go to f6, so it has to go to e7. And I mean, if these two pieces need protecting, then the knight's here to help, I guess. But so I'm not sure how much influence this knight really has on the center, but Levy says it's increasing influence in the center, so okay. Says this move is an absolute banger. I mean, it looks good. Brings the knight towards the center. Attacks the bishop. So, and I don't see any way that this knight can be attacked. Well, knight can come here. Alright, looks like a good move. The bishop on the move. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Okay. I don't understand. I mean, to me, it just seems like Wesley didn't want to trade the bishop for knight and ruin the pawn structure. Actually, the knight could capture, but I guess he didn't want to lose his bishop, so he moves it to e4. Bishop e3, white develops the bishop and attacks the center. Alright, so he develops a piece and it attacks the center. Says for queen c7, black continues to develop, gaining flexibility for the middle game. So apparently this is a flexible move. I guess it's flexible because you could castle kingside or queenside. It does look a little bit more risky castling queenside though. Alright. That defends the pawn. Oh, right. The queen was also attacking the e5 pawn. So white defends it with f4. Now that knight controls more of the board. So, I mean, yeah, it says the best move was knight to a4. I'm not sure why, but I guess knight to f5 though. I mean, it attacks the knight and the bishop, so white has to do something. He's going to lose his bishop, and it's going to fork the queen and rook. So maybe white has no choice but to capture, or he has to move the bishop. All right. So this makes it absolutely even. It was an inaccuracy. Looks like moving the bishop back was the best move. So first inaccuracy by Vishy Anand. Black recaptures the piece. It says spicy meatball right here, yo. I mean, with this bishop and queen, eyeing the c2 pawn. It could have been weak, so he moves it to c3 to, I'm guessing, to protect the pawn. Maybe the queen wants to get, I don't know, the queen can't get out now, but maybe the queen wants to get out at some point. But it said the best move was queen to d2. So Wesley has a slight edge, but the times are pretty good. Vishy still has 15 minutes, so he hasn't used any time in the first 15 moves. Wesley has used about a minute and a half, so pretty good time from both of them. It did say the opening was played with like 100% accuracy, though. Okay. Says for rook c8, black increases their middle game flexibility with this developing move. Says the best move would have been to castle, which is what I would have thought. Castle kingside. But instead, black develops the rook to c8. Increases flexibility, I guess. I really don't know how. With this pawn on c3, I don't see how this double up will serve any purposes. But let's keep going. a4, solid move, nothing special. I mean, it seems like it's just gaining space. It stops b5 because the pawn's on it and the bishop's on it. So to me, that means this all here is how it's supposed to be. All the pieces are where they need to be, so you got to move a pawn and take away black's option of gaining more space. So that's why it was a good move. But it says the best move was queen d4. Yeah. Alright, it says castling was the best move. It says both sides have castled, let the middle game begin. So I guess we're in the middle game now. Castling was the best, gets the king out of the center and develops the rook. Now the rooks are connected, so that's always good. a5. Apparently, it says that's an excellent move. The best move was h3. So apparently there's really nothing to do in this position. So h3, moves like h3 and a5 are the best you can do. So to me it means the game's really even and all the pieces are where they need to be. So really nothing's going on in this game. Alright. It says queen to c6 was a good move. It says the piece is now vibing in a super active new spot. To me, this move just shows that there's nothing to do in the position, so you have to move. So you move the queen. Maybe he's going to move the rook and then triple up. For what? I don't know. This pawn can't be taken. Unless he's going to at some point try to, I don't know. If something ends up behind this pawn and then d4 happens, I don't, if this bishop isn't here, I don't know. Maybe it'll be a pin on this pawn. I don't know. But it did say the best move was h6. So really nothing to do in this position. Rook f2 was the best move, says bullseye. Why? I don't know. It just maybe you're getting ready to go to c2 or d2. Yeah, I don't know. h6 is the best move. That's a breath of fresh air for the king. An escape square just appeared. So, for Levy, the fact that it creates an escape square is why it's a good move. So, again, nothing going on in the position. Everything's completely even, and there's no tactics. There's nothing. It's just position, and you have to make a move. All right, it's bishop f1. Yeah, it says spicy move. It says it's an excellent move. The best move was h3. I don't know what h3 is about. I don't know. I think there's just nothing to do in the position. Maybe this rook, again, like I said, wants to go to a different file. I guess not to c2 because the bishop would take it, but maybe to d2. Maybe d2 then d4 or d5. No, d4. Yeah, with the bishop here, I don't see any potential. I don't know how Vishy won this game. Says knight e6 is an excellent move. What a move. Textbook stuff right there. Says the best move was king to h7, but doesn't really matter. There's nothing going on in this position. I kind of want to skip ahead. Basically, we're just watching how many moves where there's nothing going on. Like, how many pass moves you can make. Says rook a4 was the best move. Doesn't do anything. It's still an equal position. Next move. Queen c7. Whoa. White can't stop black from winning a pawn if they make the right moves. Okay. White can't stop black from winning a pawn. Okay, let's show the tactic. Okay, so black can win the a5 pawn. Okay. But for some reason, it's still an even game. Black can go up a pawn, but it's an even game. Interesting. Let's see. White grabs a sweet outpost and keeps the tempo up. Okay, the bishop's more active. It's still zeros. Queen e7. Gotta scoot that queen out of there. Pronto. Just gets the queen out of the path of the bishop. Sharp move. They're not messing around with this one. Just puts pressure on the b7 pawn. Maybe it wants to go to b6. g5. White's pawn chain about to feel the heat. Says the best move was f6. Yeah, I guess it attacks the pawn chain. Trying to gain space, I guess. Alright. Even Steven trade, nothing crazy here. Takes the pawn. Yep, takes the pawn. And black takes back. Simple capture. g3, boom, best move right here, right now. Says g3's the best. Yeah, g3's the best move. I guess it stops. Well, it doesn't really stop it. I was gonna say it stops f4, but I think black can still play f4 because there's two defenders, and there's just two attackers and two defenders. Like if Black pushes, takes. We can't take because the knight would take. All right, so you can still play f4. All right, let's see what happens. Rook c6 says it's the best move. Doesn't tell us why. I guess they might double up. Again, doesn't do anything, doesn't force anything. This game is a pure example of what chess is all about. 80% or at least 60% of the games are, it's kind of boring. Like, both sides are playing very well, and it's just a calm position. There's no big attacking sequence. It's just, I don't know, tiring each other out. Just seeing, it's like being on a tightrope and just seeing who can make it the furthest with before falling off. I see an error, a blunder coming up from Wesley So. So we can see into the future that Wesley So is the one that falls off the line first. All right, let's keep going though. All right. Bishop g2 says best move. This starts to create the threat to tactically win a pawn. Let's see what the tactic is. Bishop takes, pawn takes, rook takes pawn, knight, rook. All right, so rook, white can tactically win a pawn. Doesn't, and says this is the best move. This move is an absolute banger. I don't know why. I don't know what that move does. Why would you take it out of the center? But it's the best move, which tells you that all the other pieces are where they should be. For some reason, this rook is meant to stay on f8. I guess if this pawn gets traded, there's pressure on this file, so it needs to be defended. Well, I guess this knight also helps defend this pawn. So now if you take, the pawn is defended by the knight. Okay. Bishop d4. That pawn was under attack, but now it's defended. So this pawn was under attack, so now it's defended. All right. All right, looks like the rook was meant to move. Boom, doubled rooks. That's some serious firepower. I don't know how they're going to break through c3. So, good job. The rooks look great. They do. But I don't see how it's going to do any good on the c file. The only thing I can see is you coming to c4 and trading off a pair of rooks. All right. Zoom, zoom. White's bishop found a more active square. Okay, but aren't you just dropping this pawn? Let's see what the follow-up is. Going back to defend the pawn. All right. Right. Okay. Bullseye, best move. Okay. Let's see what the follow-up is. Okay. Next move. So bishop does what it should do and defends the pawn again. That creates a pawn chain. Says it's an excellent move. The best move was, like we saw, rook to d8. But this is good too. Again, I don't think white wants to take, because if you take back, I guess you win a pawn, but it would be rook and bishop against this bishop. So that would be bad. All right, next move. Queen e2. Excellent. Now there is a looming threat to capture a bishop and win material after the following trades. Let's show the tactic. Bishop, pawn, queen, rook. So that would win material. All right. So that's why the bishop has to capture. This prevents the opponent from being able to tactically win a pawn. We just saw the tactic. So I'm guessing, okay, rook took back. Okay. I wonder why the king didn't. I don't know. It says easy peasy recapture, doesn't tell us. All right. 96 says it's the best move. The knight is now controlling more of the board. I mean, it did look better on knight e6. So now it's helping, it's attacking this bishop, and it's helping to defend these pawns. So it looks more active. Bishop e6. That outpost is locked down by the bishop. I think there just wasn't... That says it's the best move. It's just the pieces are where they all need to be, so you had to move something. So with the knight here, this pawn is no longer attacked. I mean, it's not attacked, so... And it's already defended by the queen, so you can move the bishop. All right. King g7, sharp move. They're not messing around with this one. Says that was the best move. Just bringing the king up. Again, the pieces are where they all need to be. There's nothing going on in this game. Queen d3, boom, best move right here, right now. Again, it's all zeros. This is the best move, but it's still all zeros. There's no advantage for anyone. There's just nothing to do except move pieces around. So this move doesn't hurt anything, so that's why it was played. And just to note on the clocks, Vishy still has 7 minutes and Wesley has 4 minutes. So I guess Vishy's winning on the clock. So d4. Threatening to force a weak isolated pawn. Let's see what the follow-up is. Pawn takes, pawn takes. So threatening for this weak c3 pawn. Okay. So bishop took the pawn. Capturing that pawn will win material after all trades, folks. So let's show the follow-up. Knight takes, queen takes, pawn takes, rook takes, rook attacks queen, queen moves, rook attacks king, king moves, queen attacks king, rook attacks. Wow, this looks dangerous. One, two, three, four, 1, 2, 3. Boy, it would be up a pawn after all that. Huh. Sheesh. Alright, let's see what happens here. G4. Losing a pawn. Ouch. That's all it is, losing a pawn. But it's plus 3.45. So Wesley finally made a mistake. Made a blunder. Let's see the follow-up. Take pawn, knight takes, queen. Okay, I wish I would have stopped there. So queen, queen, rook, rook, bishop, knight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pawns to 3 pawns. Okay. Let's see if we can take a look at that slower. Alright, so g takes f4. Knight takes. what I notice here is the queen is attacking the rook and the knight. So the knight, okay, has to go back. And then rook and queen are on this pawn. So rooks trade. Alright, so white can just go up another pawn, and he will be up 2 pawns. Okay, let's see what actually happened in the game. So it starts off like that. G takes f4. Then knight takes f4. Queen went there. Queen went to f5, attacking the rook and the knight. And knight did not go back to e6. Instead, it went to h3. Which looks interesting because it checks the king. But it says it's worse. It's now plus 4.42. It says, phew, that knight is now in a safe zone. Let's show the follow-up. King moves over. Queen's trade. Okay, this rook is defended by this rook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. So white again is up another pawn. Up 2 pawns. Okay. Let's see if that happens. Alright, king, I guess, should have gone to h1, but it's still pretty winning. Instead of 4.42, it's 4.10. So it's still a good move. This just gets out of check. Let's show the follow-up. Queen, pawn. Queens get traded. Pawn takes pawn, rook. One, two, three, 4 to 2 pawns. So again, white would be up 2 pawns. Okay. Rook goes to g8. This says it's a good move. The rook is safe. Thank goodness. Time to breathe. Because the queen was attacking the rook. But now it says the advantage is 6.85. Let's show the follow-up. Pawn push. King goes. Oh, that was a discovered check. Alright, so this is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 pawns to 3. But rook, rook, knight, knight. But white would have an extra rook and bishop. So an extra rook and bishop. And pawn. Okay. Let's see what happened. So we got e6 check. The bishop checks the king. So the king moves. It says it's the best move. That's a slick escape from the bishop's check. And it says excellent move. That bishop's new spot lets it control more squares. Okay. So that's the reason? There's no quick mate or anything? Let's show the follow-up. Well, it says the best move was... Let's show the best move. Boom, a passed pawn. That's a step closer to promotion, baby. Let's show follow-up. Queen, knight. Okay, yeah, we saw this. White's up a rook and bishop. Alright, let's show what actually happened. Okay. Okay, let's see the follow-up for bishop e3. Knight blocks, rook attacks, queen takes, bishop takes, queen takes, rook takes. See, 2 rooks, 2 rooks. So white's up a bishop and a pawn. Okay. So knight blocks like we saw. We got h4. So instead of rook coming to attack the knight, the pawn is doing it. But I think if this captures en passant, a rook coming to h4 looks really bad. It's almost checkmate. I'm not sure. Um, let's see what happens. King G7. That frees the knight for defense. Nice escape from the pin. H takes G5. And that's the end of the game. So, let's see. White's up. Let's see. Queen, queen. Let's just do show follow up. Rook, queen. Nah, uh, so basically, white's up a bishop and one pawn. So that's over. So Wesley So resigns with 12 seconds on the clock. Vishy still has almost 4 minutes. So this was a real no offense, but this game was really boring. It was a real boring game. It was really steady for most of the game. Nobody made any mistakes except G4. Um, so it was. This is the kind of. It's a real boring game, but it's the kind of chess I like. So this is how I dream to play chess. This is how I dream to play life. Is the way this game was played. Like I want life and chess to be equal, and just every so often, life gives me something like that blunder was given to Vishy Anand. Like that's what I want. I want, but I want to feel like I'm doing a good job. Like I'm making good moves and I'm keeping the position equal. And then every once in a while, I get the win. But it's like that's what I want. That makes me feel good. It brings me peace. I'm probably gonna cover a few more games from this tournament. There are a few good ones. There's one that Hans Niemann was playing. Actually, there's a few. If you watch Tata Steel and you see a game you thought was pretty interesting, leave it in the comments and maybe I'll make a video about it. But that's it. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribes at some point, but no rush, I guess. Um, yeah. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a good one.